Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're recording on. For me, that's the Wangaburra clan.
And for me, it's the Wurundjeri peoples.
Ooh, my tummy made a little sound right before I was about to speak.
What did it say?
It said, hello everybody and welcome back to Two Girls, One Pod with Angie and Yvie before I even got to say it. It's so clever.
We're such a clever little dummy.
It's the best.
Isn't it?
It's the best of the worst.
Wow, I love your gut.
You do. But seriously, welcome back. Welcome. I want to, look, I want to start off by saying it's been a bit of a week, you know.
For you?
Well, I think, yeah, for me, probably for everybody.
Tell me. Talk to me.
As you know, I have been having my treatments for my interstitial cystitis, which is painful bladder syndrome.
Yeah.
Which means I'm back on the old, managing diets, taking out foods, adding in supplements, having treatments. That alone for somebody that used to struggle with an eating disorder can be quite, alarming and triggering, having to be like, you can't eat this, you can't do that. So I have been quite strict because I am on my very last nerve before I potentially lose all of my shit. So I've been strict. But then I'm also like, I'm a human and I'm only 32 and I do want to sometimes have a cheeky Mexican feast or a glass of wine. And I tried it. I tried adding alcohol back into my diet last week and it's just not been a good time.
No, what happened?
Just the normal symptoms I used to get with alcohol, as you know, the come downs, the moods, the anxiety. And then on top of that, the hangxiety. But then on top of that.
It's a real thing, isn't it?
Oh, it is so debilitating. On top of the anxiety I already have, with all the pain that I'm under, with all these chronic illnesses, the alcohol then just is like, it's like a party in my bladder, but not in a good way.
So, yeah, it's like adding fuel to a fire.
Well, that's it, right? So it's like having a wound and then just open wound and just scratching it with that's what alcohol is to my bladder. But I thought because I had 4 weeks of this syringe treatment where my surgeon injects the stuff into a catheter into my pee hole, I was like, okay, the redness and blood has calmed down, surely. But he's just like, he's like, what with painful bladder syndrome, you're supposed to add. So I was like, I'll start adding now. You can add citrus or you can try potato or then you can try a bit of coffee and see how you go. It's all trial and error. Well, look, I know for a fact red wine is definitely not on the agenda for this bladder. But you and I were already talking about alcohol prior to that because you have cut it out a lot for your own health and physical and mental.
I've had to. Yeah, I've had to. And you know what? I've come to realise that I may be allergic to alcohol and have been all my adult life because I suffer from really bad hangovers, as you know, really nauseous, like vomity hangovers. And I also, every time I binge drank, I would vomit at the end of the night, if not earlier. So that I think is my body being quite intolerant to any kind of alcohol. So after a good 3 decades of just trying and pushing, I've finally given in and gone, you know what? It makes me feel like shit, and it's not worth the next day just to have a little buzz. And then, I got all this mold kind of shit happened to me, and I have an autoimmune disorders and stuff like that. It got to the point where my liver was being affected by those things, and I started drinking anything. It could be any alcohol, and it would taste like vinegar. And I found out it was like a liver enzyme thing. So it was making the taste of alcohol change because my liver wasn't dealing with it quite properly. But I also I keep trying. Like I'm out at a pub just the normal pubs that I go to every week and meet my friends and just try to have a glass of wine. I don't even get through it. It either tastes like shit or it just makes me feel like shit straight away. Or I have a great night and I have like 2 or 3 drinks and I'm like, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
This is exciting. And then the next day I feel like this overwhelming wave of sadness comes over me where it's like pure depression. And I know it's from the night before. It's so hard because this country celebrates and encourages binge drinking and social drinking so much so that it is quite common to hear someone say, oh, God, never trust someone that doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Or Jesus, she's a bit, she doesn't drink.
Well, that's what makes it.
That's a bit odd, isn't it?
It makes it hard, doesn't it? Because it's like to me, when I was writing out, thinking of drinking again and writing out notes, I was like, I just want to do normal human things. And then I thought, why is it normal human things to drink alcohol?
Yeah.
But that's all I've ever known, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I looked into it a little bit more with listening to all these podcasts for interstitial cystitis or just any of the mental health or physical health things that are going on. And I used to think I drank so much off and on during certain parts of my life, not because I had a problem, but because I was in so much pain with all these chronic conditions that for that 3 hours, I didn't feel anything. I feel confident. I feel beautiful. I don't think about the way I look or the pain in my body.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's why I drank so much. And then it got to the point where you would drink so much that then the next day you suffer, but in that moment you don't feel any of that pain. And that is the best feeling when you have chronic illnesses in the world.
Yes.
But then it's just the spiral effect the next day, but you don't think about that in the moment, right? You just don't think about it.
No, well, you don't because it feels so numb. It just like I feel not only no pain, but I'm also feeling a high.
Yeah.
Remember when we were doing Gogglebox and I had my slip discs.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sit for very long in the same position or I couldn't do anything comfortably for so long, but I would knock back vodka because because nerve pain is the hardest to kill and vodka would work.
Yeah.
Apart from, morphine, there was no endone working or anything. So I would literally do what they used to do in the olden days. They'd give you a hard liquor to stop the pain and, take the bullet out.
Yeah.
But the next day,
it's just not worth
it. It was, it wasn't worth it. Like you think you drink a clean alcohol. There is no such thing as clean alcohol. Alcohol is an altering substance. It alters you. Take away how it makes you feel in that Dutch courage kind of way. Just go over to a physical side that if you have any kind of pain, alcohol can numb it.
Yeah.
And there are so many reasons that we use alcohol that we don't know about. But the social reasons that we use alcohol are at the end of the day why it ends up being so hard to give up.
It is because you do, all my friends oh, we're going for lunch or we're going for dinner. And then I'm like, well, there's going to be alcohol there. And to be honest, I have really bad social anxiety at the moment because of all the pain and everything I'm thinking about with trying to stay on top of all of this so I don't have to have surgery again. I'm constantly going to different appointments, girl, every week I've got 3 or 4 and it's a lot. It's like a full-time job in itself. So then I'm on the weekends, I want to relax. I want to calm down. But the thought of being around all those energies that have no idea about what I'm going through because I don't know how to explain it to them and they don't know how to relate, I would have to drink because I'm so anxious just to stay calm and present. But I don't want to drink. So I'm like, what do I do?
You're stuck.
I just hang out at Jessica by myself all the friggin' time. And that's depressing eventually.
I say you find some Muslims to hang out with.
Yes, that don't drink.
I was thinking of Nazim Hussain.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink and he is a comedian and he hangs out with people and he has fun. And I'm like, well.
He doesn't have chronic bladder issues though.
And you don't even need to have all of those things to be going out for a lunch or a dinner with your friends and feel the strong
Social.
urge
Yeah.
to order a glass of wine.
Which there's nothing wrong with doing, by the way. But it's just if you physically can't because your body is turning on you, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's not good for you.
I've wanted to dabble, and I will be able to eventually, just not right now. And it's trial and error with certain alcohols too. So I'm trying to introduce it, but my body is being like, yeah, no thanks. We're not for you. Not for you right now.
Well,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
you get to a point also when you're having a drink with friends where they start to get drunk and you can't have a conversation on the same level anymore.
Yeah.
So you need to have either been drinking with them or you have to leave.
yeah.
And that's where I'm at. It's really frustrating because I've got about a 2-hour window with my friends before I realise that the volume's gone up, they're talking over each other. It starts to get messy talk and I have to leave because it makes me really anxious. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not on the same level in this conversation anymore. So that's me out, and which is fine because I go to bed early a lot of the time, but it's extremely lonely because I feel like I'm on the out of friends, and they're frustrated with me as well. Like they're really annoyed.
People do
because
get frustrated.
I'm not that drinker anymore. That used to be able to what's the word, like last with them. And that's, an awful feeling as well. But doing it for your health, you feel so alone. You're the only one who seems to care that, you're the one taking care of your health and everyone else just going, just have a glass.
Yeah.
And it's like, why aren't you encouraging or supporting my body?
I know.
Saying, don't do it, Ange. Like, come
just
on,
don't get it.
It's not going to make you feel very good. So instead they go on, Ange, go on.
Yeah. If they can't relate, they can't. Well, yeah, if it's not happening to them, they can't relate. So therefore they don't hold space for it.
It can't hurt you, really. One glass can't hurt you, can it?
Yeah. And then but where are you when I'm like laying on the floor in the fetal position crying, having a nervous breakdown, or not being like peeing so much that I've got blood in my urine? And where are you when old mate surgeons sticking a syringe up my nunca and I'm having a panic attack? Like, you're not there.
Yeah.
You only want good time, Ange. The one that, gets drunk and...
Yeah, might be time for some new friends. Look, I'm just a huge fan of men, straight white men.
Oh, God, and we laughed. You didn't even get to finish the sentence, and I'm like, good one.
I couldn't even finish it. I couldn't even get the words out of my mouth.
Oh, that's so good.
A lot of people think that we're man haters, and nothing could be further from the truth.
No.
What we hate is the patriarch and the people that benefit from it, and willfully benefit from it. And, misogyny is what we hate.
Yeah.
What we love,
Fully.
what I love, and what I know you will love is this week I saw this photograph of a black man covered in tattoos, bald head, like he's a man.
Yeah.
And he was holding his baby girl for her birthday. So they're in front of a cake. And she's got a tutu on. And he has a tutu on too.
Oh.
And he said, she asked me to wear it. And I said to her, say less. That was the caption.
Oh, say less.
Baby
Just
girl,
look
you
at
say
it.
less.
Just look at it and I'll put it on. Anything you want.
Yep. And he's got a big white tutu. She's got a little white tutu on.
Oh, my God. Be still, my beating heart.
It got me looking up men who dress up because their daughters have asked them to. There's photos of men in Elsa outfits. There's photos of men with makeup on. There's photos, and these are not, you think, oh, they're the gay fathers, which is what a lot of idiots would think. They're not. They could be. But these are men who are so incredibly comfortable in their own skin and think there is absolutely nothing wrong with looking like a woman.
Yeah.
Nothing to be ashamed of. And they are actually proud to look like their daughter.
Yeah.
And it warms my heart because these are the men that would be raising also their sons the same way. These are the men who would be talking to their daughters with total respect and letting their daughters see them talk to women with complete respect, and their sons. And these are the kind of men who'd be showing emotions and, you know, probably not frightened to cry in front of their families. And that's all we've ever wanted. People think we hate men. We don't. We love men like that. Like, men are no different to women in an emotional sense. And anyone that says that they are is so full of shit. So full of shit. I can't believe the difference between my brother and I in emotions and strength. And not strength, I'm sorry, that's a bad term to use, but in coping mechanisms because of our personalities. You know, how you look at some relationships, straight relationships, where the woman isn't the emotional one and the man is, and it's okay. The ones that you see who are trying so incredibly hard to not show their emotions, all they ever show is anger because that's accepted, it's so sad to see that, because then you see them beating it into their sons. I watched it happen in my household. I didn't watch it, but I imagine that's what happened to my father from his father.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
There shouldn't be any shame with being feminine.
No way, Jose. Wear those dresses.
There was a really great article about the patriarch and gay men as well who benefit. You know, they're gay and proud of it until they need to be a straight man in a workplace or in a situation where they still benefit from being a man, like earning more, you know, being able to speak blokey if they need to, that kind of thing, and how they were brought up to be ridiculed for being in any way feminine, so they could turn it on. You know, it was such an interesting article about how they didn't even realize themselves what they were doing, and all they knew, but they'd never ever vocalized it or really, you know, unpacked it, that while they were being brought up, the worst possible thing to be or to represent was a woman. To be a girl in any way. Don't be a girl. Stop being a girl. Why are you such a girl? You run like a girl. You clap like a girl. Could you sound like a girl? Imagine that being an insult. It is an insult. Not imagine it. That's an insult.
But then they love them so much too. Like, all they do is talk about smashing girls. So I'm like, what the f***? Like, what's your problem? Yeah. You say it's an insult, but then you want to stick your bits in it all the time. Like, grow up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like more men need to wear dresses. More straight, heterosexual, cisgender dudes. Slide into my DMs if you love wearing dresses.
Yeah, or skirts.
Tutus, crop tops.
If anyone needs to wear a skirt, it's a human with a dick and balls.
Yeah. You know how comfortable it would be if men started putting their pork swords in a nice little dress moment? They would seriously probably walk around and feel so much more free. They'd probably be less cross.
They do.
They would just be loving themselves sick, walking around with their dick and balls flowing in the wind.
Feeling that breeze.
Probably be less angry, less bossy, more open for equality, because they're like, yes, I get to just not have my dick so tight in pants. It gets to be in a dress, in a tutu.
My friend Gavin Coulter.
That sounds made up.
And I know this is a man who is married with children. This is my brother's best friend, actually, which is highly ironic because my brother is just so not this kind of man. He wears a sarong on the bottom half, like men wear board shorts.
Yeah.
So he'll wear everything that the normal surfy guy is wearing, but he'll have a sarong on because that's what he feels comfortable in.
That's so good.
And every Islander man wears a sarong.
I love it.
The same way.
Yeah.
You've got kilts in Scotland. You've got.
Let's find out if they're happier though. Like, are they happier types of men because they get to wear those things?
I reckon their balls are.
Yeah, their balls definitely are. That's for damn sure. We should do a
I reckon
survey.
their balls would be hanging low and they would probably wobble to and fro. You could probably tie them in a knot.
You could tie them in a bow.
Yeah. I mean, God, you could sling them over your shoulder. Like.
What's the word?
A regimented soldier.
Do your balls hang low? So we're obviously having a little bit of a come down because all of our favourite shows are no longer on the television screens. We've got Maths finished. We've got Survivor finished. We've got Dancing with the Stars finished. I know my mother was loving that sick. Congratulations to Grant Danier on that win because, you know, I was on that season. It's done. Thank God. I'm sick of seeing about it. Just kidding. So now we're having like show withdrawal rules. I mean, like I low-key am stoked Maths is done. It was taking up my entire life and I was getting severe anxiety. Like it was too much.
It really was.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Good riddance.
It's too much.
As Brent said, good luck, good riddance.
Good riddance.
See you later. We're happy about that. And
I've seen the real you. Goodbye.
And good riddance. And I hope they all got their blue ticks they worked overtime for. But now what is there to watch?
Yeah, it's a real thing when it's that grieving. Oh, the next day, the next night, you're like, oh God, I don't have that. Remember when you used to have Big Brother, that sound? You'd go 7 o'clock, Big Brother, and you'd go running from the kitchen, Big Brother's on.
Yes.
Like it's been around for such a long time, so Maths kind of filled that and all that kind of stuff. But I find, free to air, whatever. Even though I have free to air show coming in the end of the year, just
I love free to air. Free to air's the best.
It's the bomb. I've gone and started and finished watching, which I can highly recommend to anyone listening. It's called This Is Going to Hurt. And it's based on a book or a series of books and written actually by the guy who wrote the books. He's a doctor in the NHS in London. And it's such a brilliant show. It's so well acted and written and all of the stuff that I highly recommend it unless you don't like blood or needles because it's set in an obstetrics ward of the NHS of a hospital. So, but I won't say any more. It will blow your mind if you love it. But if you're into female things and the doctors behind those things, go watch.
I just don't feel like I could take that on right now.
No, well, that's the thing is that it's such a shame that there is that element to it because like I know I have a really good friend who like is a true crime podcast listener and she loves all that kind of stuff, but she can't do needles or blood. So she can't watch this show.
I love needles and blood, but while I'm getting it, I'm like, I don't need more of it. I just feel like it would just be wall to wall.
Yeah, that's not entertainment.
No, it just would give me medical PTSD, which I think I've already got, to be honest. Put that on my list with my new therapist.
Yeah.
But obviously my whole life, I don't have anything to recommend that's exciting. I'm literally watching repeats of The Only Way is Essex and Summer House because I need brain numbing stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
But my recommendations for people who may think that they are suffering with painful bladder syndrome or interstitial cystitis, which is kind of the same thing, they fall under the same category. I recommend a podcast I'm listening to now. It's called I See You, as in just the letter I and the letter C, not S-E-E, by a dietitian that specializes in interstitial cystitis called Callie. I don't know how to say her last name, but we'll put it in the show notes. Her podcast has been a game changer for me, learning about it, starting this journey. So I highly recommend you go listen to that podcast after you listen to Two Girls, One Pod.
If you'd like to leave a review, please do.
Yeah, 5 stars only.
If you want to get in touch with us, 2 Girls at Nova Podcast.
No.
2 Girls at novaentertainment.com.au.
Well done.
That's us.
You did it.
I know what I'm doing.
She's clever.
Sometimes.
She's not just a pretty face.
not just beautiful.
Oh, well, thanks for listening. And you know what?
Thanks.
Have the
You
day.
have the day you deserve.
We need to do it at the same time.
All right. Doing it. Ready? One, two, three.
Have the day.
The day. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Have the day. Oh, we got to say it with the same tone. Now, maybe it's better if we say it in our own ways.
You count.
1, 2, 3. Have the day you
Have the day you deserve.